Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our HashiCorp webinar, where today we'll be discussing what you might have missed at HashiConf Digital 2020. My name is Connor Beechnell, Senior Field Marketing Manager here at HashiCorp, and I'll be your moderator for this session. And today I'm delighted to welcome two excellent speakers. First up, we have John Boero, who's our Channel Solutions Engineer here at HashiCorp, and he's joined by Nicholas Christina, CEO and CTO at Adfinis, and they'll be your presenters today. In terms of the agenda, we'll go through all 6 of our latest product announcements, and after around 25 minutes, we'll wrap up for a live Q&A. If you do have any questions, please enter them in the chat or the Zoom Q&A feature, and we'll answer those at the end. Lastly, please note this webinar is being recorded, and we'll send that out to everyone via email after it's been processed, usually within a day or two. So with that, over to you, John.
Thank you, Connor. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you. Again, just a bit of background again, John Boero. I am Channel Solutions Engineer for EMEA currently. We finally have 2, so there's more than one of me available. I've been with HashiCorp about 3 years now and working with Adfinis almost every step of the way. So thank you for having me here. And over to Nicholas.
Thank you, John. I'm Nicholas, CEO and CTO of Adfinis. Very happy to be here as well. Thanks for joining. Just a short summary about Adfinis. We're a hyper-specialized HashiCorp partner, and we help our customers to implement and run the HashiCorp tools, also in a 24/7 manner. I'm based in Switzerland, but we also have branches in Australia and the Netherlands. And I'm happy to talk with John about the most important news from the last HashiConf Digital.
Okay, great, thank you. And your sound is a little bit sketchy again. I think if anybody has questions or misses something, let me know. My sound hopefully is okay. All right, so today's goals, we'll just give you a really brief summary in case you missed it, what the HashiConf Digital US events were. Right now, remember we had a HashiConf Digital in Europe earlier this summer, but we obviously had quite a bit more to announce at the US side, given the extra time in between. So thank you. Sorry, a bit of background, HashiConf Digital stats, and this is Digital US, not Digital Europe. We had 12,000 plus people registered. If you've ever been to a HashiConf before, they've been fantastic in person. It's a shame, obviously, with COVID, we weren't able to do in person again. We had a presence from 102 countries. One of the advantages of digital is you can go home or grab a pint at the end of your day and join the US tracks and announcements live if you were able to sign up. Great. Okay, we covered 6 continents. Obviously, I don't know of anybody in Antarctica actively tracking Terraform right now, maybe someday. Yeah, excellent. So now here's a brief listing, and this is our official deck for use with Hugs in our user groups of features that were announced and betas that were announced and product announcements, right? We also have not just this, not just what you see here, but Nomad 1.0 beta, which has just launched as well, in fact, yesterday. So we have HCP Vault, and that's our HashiCorp Cloud Platform, our managed services around our products that we're building. HCP Console, our new Waypoint and Boundary products, and Terraform and Console updates. Okay. Now, HCP Vault, or HashiCorp Cloud Platform Vault, is really interesting because it is a quick, simple way to get managed services for Vault up and running. It is currently deployed on AWS, only in US AZs and regions, unfortunately. And I'm extra aggressive with the engineers on the HCP team that this needs to be deployed in Europe as well. But right now, it's working really well in the US. You go into our portal, you click, and you essentially get a Terraform deploy of production-ready enterprise Vault deployment. Now, that also is billed as a service, right? So there's no questioning about, and no kind of back and forth with sales about what your pricing might be. So it's straightforward. All right. Anybody that wants access to this can arrange it. It's easy to set up. Just remember the caveat that it is based in the US right now. Okay, and over to Nicolas. Oh, Nicolas, is your sound okay?
Sorry, I'm not sure if you can.
Oh, yeah, that works.
Can you hear me?
Are you perfect again? Yeah. Oh, can you see this? Do you want me to take it? So, how your organization can benefit the cloud adoption. Cloud adoptions grow and organizations start and more embrace the hosted solutions so that they can focus their core business. I had a customer call just an hour ago, actually, that they want to essentially manage a small country with Vault credentials and an HCP product. And again, we need to get that moved over to Europe side, but this is the easiest way to consume the products, right? No debating a reference architecture or which cloud is used or who's going to maintain the infrastructure. Right? We're doing that for you. One-click deployment for the HashiCorp tools. We aim to have a full platform presence with all of our tools and all of our traditional tools that are client server, aka console, Nomad, and Vault, right? Terraform Cloud is already provided as a service, okay? Again, it's a private beta now. It's not hard for anybody to get an invitation. If you really want to try it out, let me know, okay? In the future, this is going to be the preferred way to deploy, not to deploy, but to manage an actual Vault console deployment, okay? So HCP console, again, similar, just like Vault. You click in our profile, in our portal, you get a console where you want it, and it's, again, automatically tracked and built. Now, if you are using Azure Console Services, HCS, HashiCorp Console on HashiCorp Console Services on Azure or on one of the other cloud platforms, this integrates well as well. Okay. Nicolas, are you ready?
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, that's all right. That's all right. You sound perfect now, you're fine.
Okay, yeah, so thanks a lot for the summary, John. So yeah, I'd like to give you a bit of an idea of how your organization can benefit from what we just heard. So HCP Console is a one-click solution to get console up and ready, and this is very helpful in times where public cloud adoption starts to grow and people want to simply get something up and running, and HCP Console is the easiest way to get console in your organization as well. Please remind that's still in private beta for now, but we hope that this will be available soon. And then, yeah, we're happy to help you also getting console in your organization using this very simple approach.
Okay, great, thank you. Now onto new products and Waypoint. And we were under embargo. We weren't allowed to talk about the new products without NDAs in place until it was finally announced at HashiConf. So the good news is a bit of background, actually. Waypoint is essentially a cloud-oriented PAM solution, right? So in fact, we had been looking at ways to kind of incorporate PAM and session management, access management into Vault. And we looked at buying solutions, we looked at building our own. And in typical HashiCorp fashion, we kind of started something as a weekend project, built the use cases around it, and pretty soon it became its own project, right? So I'm sorry, Waypoint. I'm getting Waypoint and Boundary mixed up. I'm focused too much on the slides. Sorry, Waypoint is not our PAM solution. That's Boundary, that's next. Waypoint is our CI/CD pipeline management tool, right? It's a simple tool. You will run it much like a typical HashiCorp binary. You can do a server or agent relationship and use it to deploy pipelines. Now, the great thing about this is it's a unified way, simple way to take some HCL, declare what your automation pipeline should look like, and have it managed automatically with a lightweight deployment method, right? There's no current plan. There's no current plan to have an enterprise offering around Waypoint, right? It's just a tool for now, okay? But if you saw the recording online or have browsed the project itself, it's a simple way, right? You have 3 stages: build, deploy, release, and then obvious plugins for deploying that just about anywhere you would want to, Kubernetes, cloud, or on-premise as well. and you deploy all in the same way, right? So for people who don't have a pipeline or are looking for a certain automation around their Terraform code deploy and their application all in one, Waypoint is the way to go. Okay. So key takeaways: consistency of workflows, confidence in deployment, extensibility with the ecosystem. Really, everything is open source, right? So it is a tool. You can extend it. You can make your own features, your own plugins, and you can have it kind of unified in a nice, simple way. The little bit of Waypoint that I have played with so far, it's got a real simple way to deploy itself. You download the binary, you say Waypoint install, and it will either deploy itself in Kubernetes or Nomad if you specify, right? And it gets you up and running in no time at all. Okay, so take your build pack, your Docker file, image builders, maybe you're a Builda user, Builda if you're a Podman user or a Red Hat user. All of this is designed to be very friendly with Waypoint. I'm sorry, Waypoint is very friendly with all of these build solutions.
Thanks, John. So again, let's look how your organization can benefit from Waypoint. So I believe that Waypoint solves the problem that many developer teams have. They want to have a consistent workflow for the build, deploy, and release steps. And depending on what technology you use in those steps, it's quite hard to get that right now. And Waypoint will simplify that quite a lot as it abstracts the platform details. So it will always be the same way to deploy your code, be it to a Nomad, which may be on-prem, or to Kubernetes on maybe Azure or Amazon, or even a Lambda functions on AWS. It also helps you to establish Git semantics in the build, deploy, and release steps, which is something that I really like in this. And last but not least, there are two very neat solutions that help you first to get logs from the application that you just deployed using Waypoint log. And it's also quite easy to get a sidecar container to debug your application that you just deployed using Waypoint exec. You don't want to get SSH access to your production service, but using Waypoint exec, you have a simple solution or a pragmatic solution to debug something if like deployment really failed, or if you need to run a schema migration on your production system or whatever. So these are two tools that are very easy to use and also simplify the developer journey, I believe. John, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Now on to Boundary. Sorry, Boundary is our cloud-oriented PAM solution, right? So access control, session management, session recording. This is something that we deliberated quite a bit about around the Vault side for a while. And probably, I think going back 2 years, I heard talk of whether we should build or buy a solution for this. And this, along with Waypoint, started out as maybe side projects or weekend projects within the company, and quickly became an entire solution, right? Quickly we're developed out, we're planned out by the development teams, and became a standalone project. So the great news is that Boundary was designed, was purpose built, right? So we have exactly in mind what we want to do with it, what customers want to do with it. And we are also planning enterprise offerings around Boundary. So the great news is where, console is a great way that you can mesh a network and do service discovery where you don't always have an IP, you don't always know if you have access. That's great for services, but what about users and developers, right? So one thing that's popular on our Vault product has always been the Vault SSH. So Vault will generate certificates, give you 1 hour's worth of access, and after which point that credential is no longer valid, right? It's expired. But we haven't had a full featured PAM solution for that. So we haven't had a session recording or a whitelist, blacklist concept. We haven't had real granular security around that. You just have access to your endpoint, right? Well, Boundary is now a generic way to do that, not just SSH, but access in general. Who has access to what platform? What can they do there? And in a way that is cloud friendly, right? You're not just talking about a fixed IP SSH server, you're talking about a cloud approach. So we have a central way that you can authorize, that you can authorize who has access to what, how they authenticate, and what they can do once they get there, as well as the session recording. Okay, and this is key for a lot of our customers that are struggling with VPNs or over broad network access, where you log into an organization and you have access to every machine on the network. That's not the way that a cloud should be secured, right? Or an organization should be secured. Okay, so again, we operate with a zero trust model. You have to assume that every connection is either insecure or overly broad in its access. So we're going to give you granular control over exactly what you have access to with a combination of vault and boundary. And obviously, again, from the service standpoint, on console. Okay, and we don't actually, in most cases, an enterprise is not going to entrust boundary with credentials, right? Credential store is going to be external. Single sign-on already exists in most orgs, whether it's OIDC, SAML, LDAP, Kerberos, etc. We will still use those mechanisms to give you an enterprise-ready access control and authorization to your resources. Okay, and that applies to not just humans, not just the users, but identity-based in the concept of applications as well. Automation jobs, human beings all need to have access control. Okay.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the summary. So let me explain how I see an organization can benefit from that. So I believe that boundary solves another problem that many organizations have. So the question is always who can access a system and on what conditions. And boundary really fills this gap. So it's a really neat solution. It doesn't need an agent on the target hosts, but rather acts as a proxy in front of your network. Your existing tools like PSQL or SSH or whatever you use to run your daily tasks will work without modification. And I will show you a bit of an architecture how this looks like. But in the end, boundary also connects to your preferred IDP, and on top of that offers a role-based access to your services, and you can define policies which user can access which service. And if you combine that with Vault, for example, you can even get rid of your static credentials, and that's a very nice addition to your security guidelines, I believe. So maybe we can check a really rough architecture picture of that. John, if you can go to the next slide, please. Mm-hmm. So this is really a rough drawing. So on the left-hand side, you can see the user who interacts with the boundary binary on his local machine. The boundary binary will do API calls to the boundary gateway and also to the IDP in order to authorize and authenticate the user. And if authorization and the access control actually allows you, boundary will spawn a local agent, and your binaries or your other tools that you use to operate actually connects to that local agent, and the agent will connect to boundary gateway, which sits in front of the network, and the gateway will then either get the credentials from Vault or actually just forward your credentials that you provide to the actual service that you want to visit, and the gateway will take care of the roles and the policies that are assigned. And if you are not allowed to access a certain system, it will not let you in. So this is a really rough overview, but I think it helps you to understand how you can actually integrate boundary into your security model. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you. Now on to Terraform and Terraform 0.14 public beta. Now, anybody who has been with Terraform long enough to pre 0.12 or HCL 1.0, this is not as major of an upgrade as Terraform 0.12, right? We've gone fairly regularly with the minor releases since then, and this isn't going to completely make you refactor your code. This is a nice set of features added on to the HCL2 Terraform that we've had before. Now, remember that every one of our public betas, and not just the public betas, but the new open source projects, Boundary and Waypoint, can be downloaded on the releases page. And it is fully open source right now, so everything can be viewed on GitHub as well. All right, so Terraform 0.14, if you're using it already, and if you're using Terraform Enterprise or Cloud with it enabled, that is an option as well. It helps you get ahead of the releases quite a bit. We have a new on by default concise diff tool that's going to help you visualize your changes between states and between runs. We have a provider dependency lock file for people that had an occasional race condition. It actually gives you more control over your dependency run order. And also, we also officially support ARM64 releases for Linux. So AWS has gone big on ARM. If you own a MacBook now, you're pretty good. Soon you're going to have ARM to deal with. We have official supported ARM64 releases for Linux, and I believe shortly will for Darwin as well. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, John. So let me also summarize a bit where I see the value for our customers and your organization. So as John already mentioned, there is this concise diff renderer. I actually have a little print screen on that slide that shows how this looks like. So changed resources are prefixed with a tilde character. And it will also show the modified lines. So removed lines are prefixed with the minus sign, and new lines are added with the plus sign. That's one really nice feature that helps you to see what is going on. And there's also quite a neat new feature which helps you to mark input variables as sensitive, so they will not end up in the Terraform output. So this helps you to not get those sensitive information into monitoring or logging solutions that packed or grab the Terraform output, for example. So these are two neat features that I believe help you to get better results and become even faster in deploying infrastructure.
Okay. Now, console news, we have a console 1.9 public beta available. If you are a heavy console user, the good news is you can go get this and try it out right now. We have a few things that maybe integration-wise that probably are a big deal for OpenShift users, Kubernetes users. We have a nice service mesh visualization, and if that's not a tongue twister, I don't know, especially because I just burnt my tongue on my coffee a little bit ago. We have these application-aware intentions, right? So we have the layer 7 features already in console so that you can actually kind of redirect based on URL or based on application data. Now we have more awareness around that. So we have applications that can actually pick up on how they're being console rooted as well. Now, we've always had some OpenShift and Kubernetes support, but it is official now. We have official OpenShift support, and it is tested, I believe, through OpenShift 4. We have Kubernetes health checks in console. If you're familiar with the Kubernetes service sync, that's been around for a while, but we have now better checks on the health of the actual Kubernetes services themselves. And streaming, which is really just kind of an extension of the existing console mesh features. Right now, the console features in tech preview, service update driven push-based approach to configure network devices. So we have F5 integrations. We also have a growing list of hardware vendors that support console integrations. And the great news is if you are using Terraform to deploy an application, to deploy infrastructure across a common hybrid cloud environment, some changes need to happen on-site, some need to happen in the cloud. And then say your service fails or your application has an autoscale group, something changes in the live environment. Console is there to pick that up, right? Terraform is the tool to deploy. It's not going to babysit your application or your mesh network. Console is going to be there to pick this up and synchronize essentially your on-premise devices with your cloud environment. So it makes a great hybrid cloud way to have secure mesh and service discovery without having to make sure that Terraform runs every 5 minutes, right? Now, if you have a hardware vendor in question, or if you have an integration you need to ask about, let me know. We have our alliances team that mostly works in the US that collaborate with developing the integrations for that. And I believe we have a pretty good relationship with a lot of the vendors that will provide us demo environments if you need to see something. Okay. In fact, one of our dedicated console experts in the world, we only have a handful, maybe 3 or 4 console experts that focus on my team, and is based in Germany, so not far away, and is the only one for Europe, really. So if anybody has console questions, we have our experts really close to you.
Cool, thank you. Let me also dive a bit into the benefits that we see for our customers. So as you already mentioned, John, there is a new visualization of your service mesh. So that is a very nice addition. It shows a nice topology diagram with key metrics. So you will see at a glance like how many requests are going through a service, or what is the amount of error rates, and also timing rates. You will see like how long does it take for a service to react, and you get that every details on like really simple visualization. I really like that one, and it also helps you to debug issues of your connections. You also touched the OpenShift support, which is something that we as a heavy OpenShift user really like. So you can install or deploy a console using Helm, pretty simple now. And you can also integrate the Kubernetes health checks into console, so no traffic is routed to pods with readiness or health failure. So that is a very nice combination of those 2 tools.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, good. So I'm not sure how we are regarding the time, so we have to rush quite a bit. To
yeah, that's fine. Well, all I need to say really is that Adfinis is one of the top partners we have in the world, right? Hyper specialized is a top tier for our partners, meaning they have enough people that are qualified and experienced with our technology. So it's a great relationship we have together. And in fact, not just in DACH, but we often find that we have referred people to Adfinis outside of the region as well, because the expertise is that great. So we really appreciate, Nicholas, you and your team.
Thank you.
Always being great with our community and with our products, helping us together.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, only covering a whole conference in 30 minutes is quite hard, but I hope that we could show you a little bit what the key aspects of the conference were. Boundary and Waypoint being the 2 new products. I'm really interested in the whole Boundary story, so I will deep dive into this. Our team already started to play with Waypoint, for example, so we already have first-hand experience there as well. So we're happy to help you, potential customers or people that are interested or have more questions, or yeah, I mean, we're open for whatever you want to know. Reach out to us, and we're happy to help there. So with that, I'm happy to also give over to Connor again. I think he will moderate the question and answer round. Thank you, John, for being here, and let's see what kind of questions we have.
Cheers.
Fantastic, thank you both. So just the one question that's come through, and it's about Waypoint and Boundary, actually. So these are free products and open source at the moment. Do we envisage making a paid offering in future?
Yes. So like I mentioned, Boundary was created with enterprise in mind. So it will be a supported and paid enterprise product eventually. The timeline that I've heard tentatively for that is 9 months. So roughly the gestation period for enterprise product to be born. Waypoint, I've not heard any plans. And it's strange because when I heard about the products to begin with, I know that they were talking about Boundary being enterprise ready. But Waypoint made sense to me to have an enterprise offering. We'll see. Anyway, that's the plan.
Great. All right. Well, thanks a lot, John and Nicholas, for this great presentation. And with that, if you do fancy learning more about any of these products, then I really encourage you to check out our online learning platform, where you can try some of these great features and products for yourself. You can find that at learn.hashicorp.com. And additionally, you can also learn more about how Adfinis can help your organization by visiting their website at www.adfinis.com. Lastly, just a reminder, this webinar was recorded, and we'll make that recording available on our website after it's been processed. And I'll send you a link via email later this week. Okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed today's session, and thanks so much for joining us.